Alright, so we're going to do a quick review here of simplifying expressions. Before I begin, I want to point out two things. First of all, I will be using the anchor chart in the front of the board there on the chalkboard that has the steps to simplifying our expressions, and it's a good idea if you follow along as I do that, as I'll be referring to that a lot in this presentation. Second of all, these problems directly correlate with the problems that are on the sheet that you were just given, so you should be following along on the sheet. I'm going to show you this first one in guided practice. And then that second one you're going to need to do on your own. So you're going to pause this video, and then when you are done with it, you can go ahead and follow along in number 2 and see if you did it right. Okay, and those directions are also on your guided practice sheet. Alright, so number 1, 3x minus 4 plus 5x. I'm going to refer to my anchor chart. And the first step in doing this is to change any subtraction to addition doing our plus the opposite. And that's also known as the additive inverse. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. As you can see, we have a negative sign right there, so I'm going to want to go ahead and change that to a plus sign, and then the opposite. So now I have 3x plus negative 4 plus 5x. So I did my first step, now I'm going to move on to my second step. My second step says that I need to combine any variables. And remember, variables are any numbers that have letters attached to them. Okay, so in this case I have 3x and 5x. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those, and I like to underline those before I do that because it visually shows me what I'm combining. And 3x and 5x are both positive, so I'm going to go ahead and add those up. 5 plus 3 is 8. And then don't forget to carry your x, 8x. Okay, now since you add those together, I like to go ahead and cross them off because I know I did that. And then that kind of shows you what else you need to bring down. Okay, so you have 8x, but you also still need to go ahead and bring down that negative 4 because you didn't do anything with that. Okay, so then you can go plus negative 4. Okay, and then the third step says to combine any negative or any numbers with any other numbers that you have. Well, you do have a negative 4 here, but that's just one set of numbers, and you don't have any other numbers because here, this 8x, that's a variable in a number. You can't combine the 8x and the negative 4 because they're not like terms. So that basically means that you're done. So I always circle my final answer. And then just to make sure, you always want to run through your steps one more time to make sure there's nothing else that you can simplify. So again, the first step is to change any subtraction to addition. You don't have any subtraction. You just have a plus sign there. Okay. The second step is to combine any variables with other variables. Well, you have one set of variables here, but you don't have any other variables, so you can't do step 2. And then step 3 is to combine any numbers with any other numbers. And you have a negative 4 there, but you don't have any other negative or any other numbers in general. So you can't do that. That means you're done. So the answer is 8x plus negative 4. Okay? So at this point, I would like you to now go ahead and try to do number 2. And when you're done with number 2, you can continue watching this video because I'm going to show you how I would do number 2, and you can see if you got the problem done correctly. So at this time, please pause the video and start it back up when you are done with number 2. Alright, so I hope that one went alright for you guys. If you're struggling, that's okay. Remember, when we learn new things in math, a lot of times it's really hard at first, and that's all part of just being a math student and in general just going through the learning process. So don't feel bad if it was hard. So I'm going to go through my steps. So the first step is to change any subtraction to addition, doing plus the opposite. So you can see here that I have a minus sign, so I want to change that to an addition sign and then do the opposite to my 4. And the opposite of 4 is negative 4. So I'm going to go ahead and go plus, and then the opposite of 4 is negative 4. So now I have negative 4c. So that's step 1. Step 2 then is to combine your variables. I see that I have 2c here, and I have 4c here, so I can go ahead and combine those. So I'm going to underline them, and then I'm going to combine them. I have 2c, and I have 4c, and my 4c is negative, and my 2c is positive. So that tells me that I need to subtract because my signs of my two numbers are different. So negative 4 minus 2, or 4 minus 2, you can think of it as really, would be 2. And then make sure you carry your c. And then that needs to be a negative 2 because you have more negatives then you have positives. Okay, so that's negative 2c left over. And then since you combine your 2c and your 4c, you want to go ahead and cross those off and then bring down everything you have left, which is a plus 3 plus 3. Okay, and so now you're through your second step. Now you want to go and do your third step, which is to combine any numbers. Well, if you look, I have a plus 3 here and a plus 3 here, and those are both just regular whole numbers. There's no variables or no letters or anything like that, so you can go ahead and combine those. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and write 6 under, and since I combine the 3's, I'm going to cross them off. And then as always, you want to bring down what you have left, so negative 2c plus 6. And at this point, you're done, because you have nothing you can combine. Now, like I said in the first one, you really want to go through those steps just quickly again to make sure that you've combined everything that you can. So the first step is to change any subtraction to addition. You don't have any subtraction signs. You only have a plus sign here. So step 1 is done. Step 2 is to combine any variables with other variables. Well, you have negative 2c here, but you don't have any other variables, as this is just a 6. So you can't do step 2, which is nice. And then step 3 is to combine any numbers with other numbers in the statement. Well, you don't have any other numbers. This is a variable. Okay, so you can't do that. So you've went through your 3 steps. There's nothing more to change. That means you are done. So you should have gotten negative 2c plus 6. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and try to do the other 2 on the sheet. I'm not going to have those as part of this clip, but you can go ahead and try to do those, and we can come around and help.